I'm curious how you feel this kind of rhetoric, things like weaponizing or demonizing the deep state, how that erodes the public trust in our government and institutions in general.
I mean, I'm trying to think of some equivalent where can you think of a product or a service or that is just all it gets is negative publicity, and it's like there's like a publicity machine designed to undermine it, and that's all people hear. I mean, it's just there's no question that there's this reflexive public opinion, especially on the right, but not just on the right, that like, oh, it's just government's waste. Government's fraud. So this is what attracted me to the subject in the first place is I don't have any big stake in government. I just saw that wasn't true because I wandered around the government and saw what was there. And what's shocking about it is whatever people believe because of what they've heard from this kind of casual loose talk, the opposite is kind of true. That if you're looking for waste or fraud, you were so much more likely to find it in a private sector company than you are in a government agency, especially fraud. Like that the places are on a hair trigger alert for like people stealing money. When you're on Wall Street and you want to get business, you could, take people to strip clubs and get them front row seats to watch the Mets and all that stuff. You can't buy a sandwich for someone who works in the federal government. And all around these places are watchdogs whose job is to prevent money from being stolen. And in fact, the first people the Trump administration fired were those watchdogs. So that tells you something about how much they actually care about the fraud. The waste is more complicated because it's true that like there are some ways government does things that if you were starting from scratch, that's not how you do them. And there is for sure ways to go in and make it work somewhat better. But the way to go when that in that case, the way to go in is with an appreciation of why it works the way it is, because you're just gonna end up recreating what was created if you don't understand why it got the way it was. It's like there are reasons. There are reasons it's like there's endless bureaucracy around contracting or, it's to prevent the fraud kind of thing, and it's maddening how it's done because basically there's no trust, and it's a low trust environment, and in a low trust environment, it's a very inefficient environment. When you gotta sign pieces of paper to get an extra box of paper clips, you're gonna be less efficient than if you can just go to the storeroom and take one. So it's there are problems there, but a lot of the wasteful problems will rise from the mistrust about the institution that's been sown into the public mind by this rhetoric.